you can't have judgments about who you're playing. Every project I approach differently because your job is always different. How you function in the context of the movie, what your role is, what you have to bring to it. But the one thing that's fairly consistent is I find myself, if there's any through line in my choices about projects I choose to do, it has a lot to do with the director. Because that defines the project, and I'm usually interested in movies that have a personal stake, and I often find that's more the case with a director, a writer-director, for example, that has a very particular vision than a person who enjoys but applying their craft in a kind of career situation, which is part of it. And sometimes you've got to mix it up. But basically, that's one consistent thing that I notice about my choices. You know, sometimes the most difficult things are the most rewarding because they turn the fire up and they put you in a place where, you know, you're forced to rise to the occasion. So difficult is a funny word because usually the difficult things are the most rewarding things. Difficult is probably when you don't have those things, when the things are more kind of normal and aren't as dramatic or aren't as extreme. I think sometimes it's difficult to, when you find you're in the middle of a role and you don't feel challenged, or you don't feel like enough is required of you. Not from an egotistical point of view, but just that you never quite get going. You never find the engagement. You never get to a place where you quite wake up because it doesn't seem necessary. It doesn't seem necessary because the role doesn't require you to have that shift, that transformation, that kind of dramatic event. Performers, you know, they do their best work, I think, when they're given a good setup and given really strong challenges. But once again, that's kind of difficulty that you invite because it really puts your feet to the fire. It really forces you to be there, and the things that you're feeling in actuality, you are able to channel into the character's experience.